Good morning, and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus and our online Sunday service. We're so glad you're here. I'm Reverend Dr. Marian Stewart, and it's my pleasure to serve this congregation as senior minister. This morning, we will be celebrating our associate minister, Reverend Eric Meter. Eric will leave us soon as he heads off to Wisconsin to serve our congregation in Racine. And Reverend Eric, we will so miss you, but we wish you all the best on your journey. And this service is dedicated to you. I invite you to center as we listen to our prelude.
Welcome everyone to our Sunday service. My name is Kelly McNeil and I am honored to serve as your Congregational Life Coordinator. We are so glad that you have joined us this morning. If you have any questions or would like to know more about who we are and the wonderful opportunities we have to connect and engage, please email me. You can find my email in the chat box. You can also find a ton of great information on our website. At 11 o'clock today, we will be hosting a virtual coffee hour. You'll have a few minutes after the service to grab a beverage of your choice and come and join us. You can look for the link for that in the chat and it will be posted at the end of the service. As Reverend Marian said in this service and a little bit later this afternoon, we are celebrating and honoring Reverend Eric, who is wrapping up his time with us here at First UU. I wanted to just take a few moments to share with you all what he has meant to me personally as someone new to the ministry and as a dear colleague. I apologize I had to write this down so I could get through it. It's very sad saying goodbye, but I just wanted to say that I have had the absolute honor of working with Reverend Eric for about a year now. I told him last week that the thing I admire most about him and that I will miss greatly is his caring heart. I don't think I ever saw a time when someone needed to speak with him and he didn't give them his full attention. In ministry, we can get so busy and buzz from place to place and thing to thing, and it is truly a rare quality to get to watch someone live into their ministry and their calling of loving and caring so deeply. So Eric, I am going to miss doing the new member classes with you and learning new fun facts about Unitarian Universalism. I hope that as I begin my ministry, I have absorbed just a small portion of your caring heart and your deep compassion for others. I'll miss walking down the hall and popping my head into your office to get some insight and guidance. You will be missed, my friend. And I wish you and Anne all the best at your new congregation. If you would like the opportunity to say goodbye to Reverend Eric, we will have a socially distanced farewell party this afternoon in the church parking lot. You can drive through at 1 o'clock and at 2 o'clock, and there will be a break at 1:30 for a few speeches. I hope to see you all there. And now, as we continue our farewell, please join me in singing Morning Has Come. And thank you to Jason Shelton for permission to stream his work. Please join me, Morning Has Come.
Good morning, everyone. If you have a candle or a chalice, I invite you to get it, bring it with you now. And before we light our chalice, I just want to offer a few words. Eric, you are a wonderful colleague and a mentor and a friend. You have helped me with transition and coming to this congregation, just like you helped the transition in the larger scheme of things over the past few years. Your guidance, your steadiness, and your huge heart have been ever present. I want to thank you. I will miss you in the hallways. I'll miss you up front during worship service. I will miss our coffee hour chats where we think and dream big. I will just miss your wise counsel, and most of all, I will miss your listening ears and your loving heart. Thank you so much, and may we do anything and everything possible to make this transition for you as smooth as you made it for me. Thank you, Reverend Eric. And fair warning, this service might require a few Kleenex, everyone, because Eric's been here 12 years and has lots of wonderful memories in all of our hearts. So for our chalice lighting this morning, we will light our chalice to the words by Reverend Kathleen McTeague. If we have those on the screen, we will say them together. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking time to look into one another's faces and see their communion, the reflection of our own eyes. Our chalice is lit. And now I would like to invite another awesome member of our staff, Amber Scott, to share with us a time for all ages.
Good morning. I'm Amber Scott, your Religious Exploration Coordinator. Today's story is called Grandpa Farouk's Garden. Deep in the heart of the city, Surrounded by bricks and tar and high rises and skyscrapers, you'll find Grandpa Farouk's garden. Amir visits his grandpa every week. He loves spending time in the garden. He loves all the leaves and the flowers and the trees. Amir helps his grandpa in the garden, and they work together all day long. They pull out weeds and pick fruits and vegetables and take care of the compost pile. Amir loves watering the plants with a watering can and checking on the worms in the worm bin. When they are done working for the day, they rest in the shade and eat some of the fruit they've picked. Yum! One day, Grandpa looked sad. He didn't eat his pear. "What's wrong, Grandpa?" asked Amir. "My garden isn't doing well," replied Grandpa. "Some of my plants are dying." "Why?" asked Amir. "Look closely at the leaves and branches," said Grandpa. "There are pests eating my garden." "We need ladybugs," said Grandpa. "They are the bugs who will eat the pests that are killing our plants. Without ladybugs, my garden will die." Luckily, Amir knew just what to do. "I can find some ladybugs. I will catch them and I will bring them to you. You can count on me, Grandpa." For that next entire week, Amir looked and searched and collected as many ladybugs as he could find. He found one ladybug on the soccer field. He found 2 more ladybugs at the grocery store. He found 3 more ladybugs at the park. And he found 4 more ladybugs in the living room. Next week, when Amir went to visit Grandpa Farouk, he brought him his jar of 10 lovely ladybugs. "Wow, Amir, thank you. You've done such a great job," Grandpa exclaimed. Grandpa was overjoyed. Together, Amir and Grandpa unscrewed the lid to release the ladybugs into the garden. The ladybugs were very hungry and immediately flew out of the jar and onto the leaves and trees and plants and flowers. The ladybugs soon ate all the pests, and the garden was able to blossom again. From that day on, Grandpa Farouk's garden did what gardens are supposed to do. It grew and grew and grew. Grandpa never forgot Amir's gift and is still thankful for it. Amir still visits to help with the garden every week, and the ladybugs like it so much that they have lived there ever since. The end. Think about special gifts that your family members, parents, or chosen family have shared with you. How have those gifts allowed you to blossom? How can expressing gratitude continue our growth? What gifts and thanks would you like to give?
Thank you, Amber. I always enjoy your stories. Thank you so much. Reverend Eric has served First Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbus for 12 years. Wow, 12 years. He has led youth and seniors, classes and worship, big trips, and advised on technical wizardry. He's amazing. He leaves behind many fond memories and takes with him a lot of love and respect. I now invite Amber, who he supervised this year and met with weekly, to offer a few words.
As we wish Eric goodbye, I could not resist sharing these photos with you that Mary Catherine Vittmeyer took in April 2018 of Reverend Eric as a lobster. I'm definitely going to miss those moments when he would ham it up here at our church. The weather in Ohio, it's okay. I've heard it said that here we have the cold season, the rainy season, and the orange barrel season. I can't really blame Reverend Eric for being ready to try something different. I was incredibly lucky to have Reverend Eric as my supervisor this year. And though I am still learning, he did a lot to help me get acclimated to my new position and welcomed me into the staff team with a wonderful mixture of humor and grace. His history with and deep knowledge of this church granted me context, and his very deep love for this congregation showed me how to be a spiritual leader who is caring, grounded, and responsive. I will definitely miss you, Reverend Eric. While I am sad that my time getting to work with Reverend Eric is ending, I am so happy for him and excited for this new chapter in his ministry and in his life with his partner, Anne. Reverend Eric, you deserve the best. And thank you for giving this congregation your best for all these years.
And now, Reverend Eric, we have a few pictures of you, and I would like to ask you to help us with some context with these. Can you help us with these photos?
I hope so. I hope so. On the left of the screen, this would be a child dedication ceremony. I think that is Chris and Karen Ashita with their infant, their newborn Charlie. And that looks like Joel Cosme holding, I think, his and Tara's daughter, Sarah Corazon. Joel's daughter, Yesh, is on the right there. And on the right screen, you know, I think that's fake news. I have no memory of that whatsoever, to be absolutely honest. But it looks like a lot of fun was being had, probably at my expense, which is just fine. Here we have, that's a picture on the left of our partner church minister, the Reverend Albert Kozma, and I, when he was visiting Columbus in June of 2016. The picture on the right is from the youth pilgrimage we took to Transylvania. That is the tombstone of the only Unitarian king in history, King John Sigismund. And I have every hope and confidence that our partnership with the good Unitarians in Bulan, Transylvania, in the nation of Romania, will be a live and living thing going on for years to come. Albert is an absolute treasure. And here is my wife, Anne, and I, after voting on the polling place in Morse Avenue a couple years ago. And oh yeah, Lauren McChrystal, she and I and others at coming of age retreats would have fun making the gesture like the Charlie's Angels. And I think this must be at the wedding rehearsal. I officiated the wedding for Lauren and her partner Sam, and we were hamming it up because there was a camera. And Marion, that is the two of us, and that is your fabulous rainbow umbrella. That was probably the Pride March a couple of years ago. You look good. I look like I need to go hiking a whole lot more.
Eric, I'm so surprised that you like to ham it up.
Yeah, and I have proof.
And there's a camera.
Exactly. This is me being scaredy squirrel on the left. And just to prove to you that this is part of my true personality, this is at a friend's house wearing their squid hat a couple of years ago. We were having fun. This was a Friday night dinner. And Marion, I think this was, if not your first, your second senior gathering. This was in the worship center. And what was the skit we were doing?
I think it was Auntie Claus. And yes, you were awesome. You just great.
May I never wear that robe again, but it was a lot of fun. I love that hat. I hope you still have it.
I do.
Oh,
Let me
terrific.
know if you need it.
Will do. Thank you. Oh, and this is, all right, a quick video. This is the ALS Bucket Challenge, an ice water thing that was viral several years ago. And I'll let this run. We were having a lot of fun. First Labor Day retreat.
All right, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, Eric. I think Eric's supposed to. We nominated.
Technically, he's supposed to be pulling up over his head.
Nominated Eric to do the ice bucket challenge.
All right, my folks, my name is Eric Meter. I'm talking. I was nominated for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge by Connor McChrystal. I would like to nominate in turn Gabe and Mark Bellatini, who is hiding somewhere right now.
Can't get away.
Just so nobody
For
drag him down
ALS
here.
research. Now do it.
Now, usually, so 3, 2, 1.
And let me say this, while that was fun, the ALS challenge was something I was very happy to support. ALS took the father of one of my closest friends, and so there's levity there, but there was also, that was done for a reason. And the next slide, I want to pause because this is a return to hilarity. This is while the coming of agers were having their wilderness retreat, some of the other coming of age teachers and mentors were hamming it up while the mentors were decorating the walking sticks for their mentees. This photo has never seen the light of day before. It was taken by Sandy Aska, and as you can see, we were having a little fun. Wonderful.
That's awesome, Eric. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. You're going to be missed, and I love your sense of humor. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, Eric, thank you so much for sharing those photos and your goofiness with us as a church community. We really, really are going to miss you. Later in our time together this morning, we will bring forward those in our community who are experiencing grief, loss, or moments of celebration. I invite you to use the chat box now to type your full name and in 10 words or less, the sorrow or joy you wish to share, and then select Send to Panelists.
Thank you, Kelly. And let me take this opportunity now to share some reflections. Time is a funny thing, but I think you knew that. Still, when I remember the first time I pulled into the church parking lot and tried to find a front door that would open, I can't help but think back to Bob Dylan's song, My Back Pages. I was so much older then. I'm younger than that now. That said, I certainly have more gray hairs now than I did on that day 12 years ago. 12 years, how can I even begin to sum them up as I do my best now to say thank you and now goodbye. Between that first day and today, covenant groups, Wellspring and grief recovery method classes, bread actions, basking in the breathtaking Sunday morning music and the glorious singing of all of our church choirs, the challenging and soulful beloved conversations, coming of age retreats like you saw earlier, justice trips and pilgrimages with our youth, and the happy, gentle clamor during our senior gathering quarterly lunches. Precious memories all. Over the past weeks, as my wife Anne and I, mostly Anne, have begun preparing for our move, I've been going back over my memories, looking for patterns and nuggets of things learned. During this time, many of you have phoned, emailed, or sent cards. Each is a joy. Thank you. If I do not get around to responding to everyone, my apologies. I can only hope you'll understand. These days have been full of tying up loose ends, of saying goodbye and thank you, and that will continue this morning and this afternoon at the farewell in the church parking lot. I hope to see you there. One of the pillars among the generations of ministers preceding my own is the late Josiah Bartlett. In an open letter he wrote shortly before he died, Bartlett talked about the ministry being the best seat in the house of life. I've certainly found that to be true. You've welcomed me in the pre-pandemic era at your hospital bedsides, invited me to bless homes, and ceremoniously name and dedicate your newborn infants on backyard patios. I've been beside you shortly after loved ones have died or taken ill, and there are times when I've listened when you've been angry at the church and me for not meeting your expectations and needs. Life in faith communities encompasses all of that. It can shine beautifully, and it can be messy as field boots in March. All the same, in the last 12 years, I've been bored during only 2 15-minute intervals. By and large, I thank you for that. In going back over these last 12 years with you, many moments stand out. One is the closing to the sermon my friend and colleague, the Reverend Scott Prinster, offered at my installation ceremony. With only one change to correct an errant citation, Scott had this to say. The Anglican preacher, Reverend Henry Melville, wrote, "We cannot live for ourselves alone. Our lives are connected by 1,000 invisible threads, and along these sympathetic fibers, our actions run as causes and return to us as results." Scott continued, "These connections, these in-between places are where the essence of successful ministry resides. Not in whether Eric is the perfect minister or you are the perfect congregation. It will be in how you live out your covenants with one another." Scott continues, "Between all of you who have made this an exciting and healthy and welcoming community that will pull you back to the truth that none of us are in this alone and must not treat ourselves and others as if we were." This understanding that our lives are part of a broader network of mutuality is one of the main reasons I love faith communities and being a minister so much. While the hope is that religious professionals will inspire members of their congregations, please know that you have inspired me. I will always remember the Justice General Assembly in June of 2012 in Phoenix, Arizona. Jolinda Stevens, the congregation's director of religious exploration at the time, and I led 4 of our youth to take part in several days of social justice work, primarily registering new voters, in preparation for a demonstration against Sheriff Joe Arpaio's tent city. That was where he held hundreds of undocumented people as part of his advocacy of Arizona's anti-immigrant and short-lived, thankfully, Senate Bill 1070. Our denomination had already chosen Phoenix as the site of our General Assembly when SB 1070 emerged. There were calls to abandon our substantial deposit and find another place to gather. But immigration leaders in Arizona asked us to come to Phoenix and shed more light on the human rights abuses taking place there. So we did, planning a major protest next to our Sheriff Arpaio's tent city. Then, the afternoon before our demonstration, we learned that there would be a counter-protest. And with Arizona's law being what it was, we could expect many of the counter-protesters to be armed. This we hadn't anticipated on. So Jolinda and I got on the phone and reached the parents of each of the youth under our care. If they didn't want their child to participate, they wouldn't. We were concerned, Jolinda and I, and then each parent replied, in effect saying, Our child is going. We want them to know that we will not be intimidated. Please never forget that this is a community of brave souls who stand up for their convictions. It has been the largest honor of my professional life to serve as one of your ministers. So now, before I close, I want to leave you with one further reflection. During these last 12 years, I've had the privilege to serve under 3 senior ministers, Mark Bellatini, Jennifer Brooks, and Marion Stewart, each with a distinct personality and distinct approach to ministry. Mark focused on being a Unitarian Universalist priest of sorts, a preacher, a pastor, and a teacher. Jennifer was most interested in justice education and church governance. Reverend Marion brings both heart and a desire to lead a congregation out of its comfort zone to bring about a more just world. I've seen her genuineness as we've made hospital visits together and planned more than our share of joint memorial services. And if you've been with her or have seen her televised testimony from the Ohio State House, you have a sense of how deeply ingrained Reverend Marion's sense of justice is and how articulate she is in expressing it. To any of you who think primarily in terms of leaders and follows with capital letters when thinking about ministerial leadership, let me say this. In a congregation like this one, there will never be just one sole champion of any given cause and an army of followers marching behind. Congregational leadership, the collaborative leadership Reverend Marion offers, is about shared leadership, clergy and laity working together to cast light on human needs that have gone unheeded for too long. As I wrote in my recent annual report to the congregation, First UU Columbus will come out of this time of pandemic social distancing stronger because of Reverend Marion's leadership. Recognize that, and then ask her what's next. I bet you'll have an idea worthy of the best you have to offer. So now, as I hand back to you what I only held on loan, my share of the ministry of this congregation, I do so confident that you are going to be just fine. The search committee for your assistant minister for pastoral care is an amazing group of folks who care deeply about this community and know what the church needs in its staff. And what a staff you have. I hope you appreciate them. I give anything to take Amber, Kelly, and Brian along with me. And don't get me started about the music staff. That's when these would really come out. Well, all of it. In closing, and as I've said before, I can't wait to hear the stories of all you achieve in the months and years to come. Thank you for the trust you've given me, the support, and the challenges as well. Thank you also for the very apparent love you showed me over these years. You've helped me to become the person and the minister, the religious leader that I've longed to be. For this, I will always be grateful. In turn, I can only hope that you felt my love toward you as well. I will miss you. Thank you. Thank you. And now, will you please join with me as we sing together now, Spirit of Life. We're going to sing this twice through. The second time, changing the me to us.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stars of compassion. told me close, wings set me free, Spirit of love, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto us, sing in our hearts all the streams of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold us close, wings set us free. Spirit of life, come to us, come to us.
Ooh, thank you, Eric. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to lead this congregation, but it's also a great, great pleasure and honor to have served with you. And just a side note, even as much as you would like to take our wonderful staff with you, no, you cannot do that. They are ours, and we are so proud of everyone, of which you have also been a part. First UU is a church that matters. It is the foundation of our being to love, to care, and to be generous. We know that this world is a long way from being fair to all people. It takes all of us to make it better. To offer our gifts and pay our promise pledges is to say to ourselves and the world that we are defined by our hearts and our deeper values. Our Share the Plate recipient for June is Kaleidoscope Youth Center. After celebrating the 25th anniversary last year, Kaleidoscope continues to offer queer youth a safe, encouraging place to be and support for them to be fully themselves. Please be as generous as you can to help make Columbus a safer and more loving home to all. The offering that helps build a better world and a better church will be now gratefully received. You can donate online through text or on the website, bank by mail, or write a check and mail it in. Thank you for all those who have made your pledge for next year. It helps us to plan responsibly and to take care of our church and our community. If you haven't completed your pledge for this year, it's almost the end of June. Oh my goodness, how did that happen? But it's almost here, the end of the church year. Please send in your check to fulfill your pledge payment for this year. And thank you so much. For everyone, thank you for your generosity.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Nathan. This Father's Day, we want to begin our time of joys and sorrows by saying thank you to all of the fathers, father figures, and important people in our lives. I hope that you get the opportunity to talk or see your dads today or spend a little time remembering them if they are no longer with us. We also want to lift up two very important Supreme Court decisions that were announced this week, protecting LGBTQIA workers and DACA recipients. The push for justice is certainly not over, but these decisions are a step in the right direction, and we must celebrate each step towards justice as we continue to dream of a truly beloved community. A little closer to home, we want to lift up 3 caring cards this morning. If you would like more information about these caring cards, please send me an email and I will be happy to pass on more details. Karen E. had foot surgery recently and is recovering at home. She welcomes calls and cards. Denise D. underwent brain surgery on June 19th, and we're happy to report the surgery went well. And Marla L. will be having a mastectomy on June 29th. We wish you a speedy recovery, Marla. Here's what you brought forward this morning. First, Reverend Eric, I encourage you to read through the chat this afternoon when you get a chance. There are so many beautiful and moving tributes and memories to you and about you. We also had Brad B., who shared a joy, who said he was grateful for my father, and a sorrow, missed my father-in-law who lived with us 11 years and died 6 years ago. Sylvia H. says, prayers for my sister Christine, whose life partner John died this week. Barb and Bill announced the birth of their granddaughter Carmen Christine on Monday, June 17th. Congratulations. Char P's mother Rita lost her partner to cancer last night. I'm so sorry. Mira K says, my sorrow is we're going to sell the scooter. Brian H shares a joy of 14 years of fatherhood. Thank you, Jeremy, for all the love we share. Florence and Sandy share that today is their 40th wedding anniversary and they're still going strong. Congratulations. John and Francine share that they have been visiting this church since COVID-19 started and that we have made a great impact on their lives. We are so glad that you are sharing your time with us, John and Francine. Barb F. shares that Caroline is having surgery tomorrow, and Michael is entering his 8th week at the University of Kansas Hospital, recovering from stomach surgery and many complications. In the stillness of the moment to come, let the sound of our temple bell guide us forward, echoing melodies of care, support, appreciation, and love. Together, we emerge from this moment, ready to journey along the path towards justice and hope.
As we come out of this time of joys and sorrows, we have a very special tribute to Reverend Eric. This is a surprise. We've been able to keep it from Eric. I'm not sure how we did that, but yay, get your Kleenex ready. Oh my goodness. This is really, really special. And Eric will be watching it for the first time along with all of us. The tribute was arranged by Holly Adams, who works for School for Young Children, or SYC, and she's also a member of the coordinating team, or the CT for short. Holly wrote this when she submitted the video. Okay, Here's a surprise for Reverend Eric's tribute. This is my 24-year-old niece, Katie Kerry, who started going to First UU just before Reverend Eric arrived. They adore each other. So I thought it would be a good surprise for him. Lots of history, good history between the two of them. Reverend Eric, here is a tribute from Katie Kerry. Enjoy.
Hey, Eric. The word on the street is that you're moving to Wisconsin, and I didn't want you to go without getting the chance to say goodbye via COVID measures. I know that the nature of being a mentor and a teacher is that you are never going to really know how you impact the lives of your students. But knowing that you were leaving, it was really important for me to share with you just a very small sliver of the way that you've changed my life before you moved to this new congregation. So I know you remember when I was a young teenager, maybe like 12 or 13, you and I went to both Arizona and to Romania together with a bunch of other people. Those were my first experiences with social justice outside of my dinner table, and also it was my first experience outside of the US. And what I remember actually most about both of those trips is you, and it was your leadership in guiding these really young people, including myself, through topics and experiences that were sometimes really heavy and hairy and hard to deal with. And you did it with this grace that I now, working with teenagers myself, can only imagine measuring up to. It was incredible. Throughout this entire time that I was coming of age, when I was seeing you navigate these sometimes really challenging situations, it didn't go unnoticed, and I wanted you to know that. My idea of what good allyship looks like, good leadership, how to be compassionate in tough situations, all of those foundations for me came from watching you. And these interactions or the things that you said, I'm sure at the time they were granular to you, but they were really foundational to me, and I'm sure to others as well. And even though you're never going to really fully understand how you've impacted my life, I wanted you to know how much you mean to me and how you're one of my biggest mentors. And when I think about the kind of leader that I want to be in my own communities, I frequently think about what I witnessed you doing, which is leading with strength and clarity while still maintaining this really deep sense of humility and a really great sense of humor. We're going to miss you a lot. But Wisconsin is really lucky to have you, and I can't wait to hear about the trails that you blaze and the lives that you change there in years to come. Thank you for everything that you've done for us in this community and for me. We're going to miss you a lot. Bring us back cheese. Hey, Eric.
Eric, I hope that was a surprise for you. And yes, you have touched many lives. I now invite everyone to sing a song that I would like to dedicate to you on this day. How could anyone? This is a song by Libby Roderick, and we thank Libby for permission to stream this for your service. Let us sing.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice
Okay, this is a lovely picture. This is Ann and I, and Reverend Kathleen Fowler had just declared us husband and wife at our wedding ceremony at the fairgrounds, the county, the fairgrounds, listen to me, the Franklin Park Conservatory. A wonderful day. This is a bit of emotional whiplash you're putting me through. Before the closing words, which many of you will know from the 4 quartets, I want to thank you. That video from Katie, yeah, I made sure I didn't watch it until the moment. Yeah, Katie's the daughter I wish I had. Let's put it that way. And also thank you for that closing song, How Could Anyone? I learned that song when I was doing my clinical pastoral education, my chaplaincy at San Francisco General Hospital in the AIDS ward, the inpatient AIDS ward, 5A. This was at a time before antiretrovirals, and that song always brings me back to my memories of talking with those men, facing so much. T.S. Eliot, the Anglican and Unitarian as well. What we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown remembered gate, when the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning. At the source of the longest river, the voice of the hidden waterfall, and the children in the apple tree, not known because not looked for, but heard, half heard, in the stillness between 2 waves of the sea. Quick now, here now, always. A condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything. And all shall be well, all manner of things shall be well, when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crowned knot of fire, and the fire and the rose are one.
Reverend Eric, it has been a pleasure to dedicate this service to you. You have meant so much to so many. Now I invite everyone to place your hands over your heart, or if you would like, extend your hands out in a virtual community, holding hands with each other as we say our closing words together. And Eric needs to advance the slide. Thank you, Eric. Let's read these words together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of vision. As we go forth, let us heal and transform ourselves and our world through reason and love. Our chalice is extinguished, but the love goes on.
We're going to miss you so much. First GU is a place to be social. The church's Facebook group and Discord channel are always open. Pop in anytime, and thank you for sharing. Everyone is invited to coffee hour right after this service. After the postlude, you'll need to leave this broadcast, quickly grab something to drink, and pop back into Zoom at 11 o'clock using the link posted in the chat. And this afternoon, please join us in celebrating Reverend Eric Meter and wishing him and his wife Anne goodbye and good luck on the next part of their journey. We are hosting a socially distanced event in the church parking lot from 1 p.m. to 2:30. Drive-by farewells are encouraged at 1 and 2, and there will be reflections and speeches given at 1:30. Please wear your masks and be prepared for weather conditions during this all outdoor event. Reverend Eric and all of us look forward to seeing you. The link for coffee hour will be posted again after the postlude. Check your email for more information about Eric's farewell party.
And Reverend Eric, here's a slide of you and Anne, one last slide with your farewell celebration notice right there on it. As we go forth, I would like to, there's a picture again. I think it was an auction photograph. The auction team is just amazing. In gratitude today, I would like to thank our wonderful music staff, always awesome. And thank you, Nathan, for your tribute, and for Brandon, who helped make Libby Roderick's song possible for us to sing today. I also want to thank the ministerial staff, Amber, Kelly, and Reverend Eric. Eric, this is the last time we'll be able to say thank you officially, but thank you. And thank you also for Angela, who gets us out of many binds in a technical way with Zooming. Thank you so much, Angela. We really appreciate your support. And now let us close with our postlude by Nathan. I'm going to ask Eric to go back 2 slides, if he would, to show a staff picture.
There we go.
Go back 2 slides.
that
There we
it?
go. Thank you, Eric. That's a staff picture from 2 years ago. Reverend Eric is the second from the left. And Eric, the staff then and now, we wish you well and all the best. Happy journeys to you and Ann. I also want to remind everyone, General Assembly is next week. You're all invited to General Assembly online. The gas mileage is great. Hotel bills non-existent because we're doing it from home. 4,000 people, Unitarian Universalists from across this country, have signed up, and you can too. Go to uua.org and put in the search bar General Assembly. We hope to see you there, and next Sunday we will be streaming live the General Assembly worship service. This morning, I would like to leave you with 3 questions to take into coffee hour and use larger into this week. The questions: what are your favorite memories of Reverend Eric? How do you say goodbye to someone you know? And what are your hopes for our church next year? My friends, have a wonderful week. See you shortly in coffee hour, and we'll see you this afternoon for the farewell party in the church parking lot. And then we'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.